Ladies and gents, it's your boy Black Man's Log back at it again with movie night. We actually have another mutual choice between my wife and I, and we picked Sweet Virginia, which was on Hulu. 6.2 on IMDb, 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 3.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd? Haven't heard of that one. Hilarious because I action heavily watched the Netflix Punisher series, but I freaking love Jon Bernthal. He somehow plays the same character in all of his roles, but he doesn't at the exact same time? I have no idea how to explain it. His acting ability has me sold ever since The Walking Dead, and I will probably watch just about anything with him in it.
Hey, you right, man. That is tough.
He was the selling point for me in this film because that plot synopsis is pretty meh. In a small town where there has been a spate of recent violence, a former rodeo star meets a young man who he develops a burgeoning friendship with. However, he is unaware of his new friend's true nature. What I can say about the film is much more interesting than that boring synopsis. This is a 50-50 film. It's not bad, but it's not overly great either, so it's probably worth a watch if you're bored, but I'd definitely skip it if this is the sole film for movie night. Spoilers ahead. The film opens in a very mafia-like style. A group of men playing cards at night in a restaurant that is obviously closed. Their circumstances are unknown. Are these owners, employees? They're smoking and drinking and appear to be having a decent time. A fourth man enters the restaurant, sitting down at a booth and asking for some special or something. Clearly closed, one of the men tries to get him out of the restaurant. The situation turns tense quickly as the customer refuses, but the other man very aggressively insists. The customer leaves the shop, angry apparently that he is unable to get his meal. The other man sits back down to play cards. Suddenly the door opens again. It's the same customer with a revolver in hand. He guns down all three men in cold blood. It's violent, bloody Martin Scorsese type of mess in the opening minutes. Sounds interesting, right? Well, you'll be disappointed to watch the remainder of this crime noir film as you watch Jon Bernthal's character, who is a retired bull rider who owns a motel. The film draws heavily on this everyone knowing each other's small town vibe. It leads to a strange interconnectivity between the characters of the film. Jon's character has been having an affair with one of the wives of the three dead men. The killer is staying in Jon's motel while he waits to get paid. He was paid by a wife of another one of the dead men to kill him because he was a lying, cheating bastard. Probably. When this wife is unable to pay the killer, things get hairy because the killer seems to be dealing with some sort of mental issues that never really get fleshed out. To save her own ass, because the killer is now hunting her, Widow B sells out Widow A, who Jon is sleeping with, saying that she has a safe filled with money and that he can get his money that way, so he decides to rob it. The night of the robbery at Widow A's safe, she's at home. Widow B couldn't even give the courtesy to Widow A to give a heads up to get out of the house or something, even though they were friends. The killer brings a friend for the heist who was killed during the robbery. The killer is about to kill Widow A, potentially something that wouldn't have occurred if Jon's character, who slept with her hours before, hadn't left. However, the killer stops as he notices Jon's hat on her mantle. Remember that synopsis? A former rodeo star meets a young man who he develops a burgeoning friendship with. That comes into play. Even though every situation and dialogue is insanely awkward between the two, they are somehow friends. He decides to leave her be and flees the scene back to Jon's motel. That's the majority of the film, and honestly it's pretty boring and afterthought to watch it go down. It's interesting live on the first watch through because you don't have any idea where this crime film is headed. The triple homicide from the beginning of the film is pretty fresh in your mind, so you're wondering if that will be revisited. And it is, but at the very end. Jon puts together that the killer and the man that broke into Widow A's home is the man staying in his motel. The killer realizes Jon's realization and attempts to kill him. A very interesting motel chase scene erupts with gunfire early in the morning. The film thinks itself clever by using the killer's rage while shooting to dispatch another white male asshole abusing women. Jon knows the motel better than the killer does and is able to elude him. The killer, either out of bullets, patience, or F's to give, decides simply just to leave. He's putting his belongings in his car when Jon appears to him once more holding a rifle, probably 3 times my age, from some war that I don't remember because a lot of this movie isn't memorable. The killer laughs at Jon and says that he's gonna leave, stating that they are even because he didn't kill Widow A and he didn't kill him. Jon tells him not to get in the car. The killer ignores him, and in a clearly legally questionable move, as he was not actually threatening Jon at the time, he shoots him dead. The film ends. Widow B gets arrested by the police for having her husband killed. John gets his hair cut by Widow A, and I assume it's happily ever after as he reminisces on his bull riding days. What does bull riding have to do with this film? That was the only connection John and the killer had. The killer used to watch John and knew him. 5 out of 10 on the official Black Man's Log scale. John's acting carries this film. The thriller aspect makes you think something is lurking around the corner, which is good for a first watch through. But that's about it. Thanks for joining me on Black Man's Log.